Hello, I'm Jinmin, and this is my first devlog of an untitled game that I started to work on. I'm currently a grad student living in Tasmania. If you've never heard about Tasmania, it's that little island at the bottom of Australia. It's pretty small and very quiet here. There's a lot of nature, and the lifestyle is very relaxed and simple, which I think is a perfect place for solo game development. I want to make a game that teaches you a language like Korean or Spanish, but my attempt is to make the learning and playing experience as fun and enjoyable as non-educational games. I have been learning Mandarin for a while now, and because I'm learning it as a hobby, I wanted the process to be painless, so I tried to look for some games or resources that would let me learn Mandarin but doesn't require that much self-control. I did find a few useful tools and games and tried them out, but it still felt like I was studying rather than just having fun. And I started to think that it would be great if learning can be as addictive and enjoyable as playing games like World of Warcraft or League of Legends. So I did what a lot of other programmers do. I overestimated my abilities and decided to try and build my own thing. I didn't know where to start, so I did some Googling and people just kept on saying that I have to start small. I did make a small mobile game in the past, around 6 years ago, so again, overestimating my skills, I wanted to go a little bit bigger this time and decided to make a 2D platformer game. I was inspired by Thomas Brush and I took his game development course where I learned a lot about game art and how the game development industry is like. Because this is an educational game, I think it's important to get the right game mechanics and also a really good game loop. So I did some reading on topics like gamification, game design. I started a discussion on Reddit, which turned out to be very intense. I watched seminars, I read papers, and things just started to get out of hand. I was falling into that place where I'm making zero progress and just consuming information. This is a really bad habit of mine where I try to be perfect and just waste a lot of time. So I just decided to open my mind map tool and just wrote out whatever came into my mind. I still wanted to keep the game small, so I had to cut out a lot of things after the planning. And because the player needs to learn a lot of foreign words during the game, I think it would be confusing for the player if the core game loop and mechanics were too complicated. But then again, if it's too simple, it would be less engaging for the player, so I had to find some balance. After planning things out, I just had to be happy with what I had because it was time for me to just move on to the next step, which was the game art. I first did some basic artwork for the game. This might not be what I end up using later on in the development, but I just first needed to have something to start building the prototype. I was unsure whether I'll use pixel art or just simple illustrations. I didn't want to pick an art style that requires a lot of skills because I want to keep things small, so I thought pixel art would be better for animating the sprites, but then again, I have never done any pixel art before, so I just decided not to do it. I'll have to learn new tools, new techniques, and I should just really focus on less learning and more doing, at least until my first prototype is out. I'll continue talking about my progress with the prototype in the next devlog because it's Easter holidays in Australia and I'll travel to Sydney to spend some time with family. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next devlog.